There we go. Okay, so we're going to have a look at a brief introduction about the topic, why bother, how do you go about making decisions for the perfect pitch, 4 key questions that you have to answer when you make a pitch to someone, and then the last one, keep it simple, stupid. So, all businesses do, and I spoke to a couple of groups about this the other day, is solve problems. They don't do anything more complicated than that. No one here, unless you've got around about 4 or 5 hectares of land, can feed themselves. You rely on somebody else to feed you. No one here can produce their own clothing. So you all have the problem of feeding yourself, clothing yourself, making friends, entertaining yourself, and you rely heavily on businesses. So when I ask people who are starting up a business, you know, why are you starting up a business? And they say, I want to make a profit. What's the problem with that? It's not a rhetorical answer. I've got lollies for Sudan. What's the problem with that if somebody says, I want to make a profit? Yeah, that's more of a consequence further down along the line. Yes, you're focusing on yourself. And none of us, and if you look carefully at how businesses advertise themselves, none of us use businesses that say, buy my stuff because I want to make a profit. We look at this problem we have and we say, can they solve it for me? So we have these problems because we can't provide everything that we want or the lifestyle that we need. This is a really important concept that you not only need to understand for your pitch, but you also need to understand it when you start your business. And this is often one of the first questions that we ask students. So, why would you bother? Why would you bother making a pitch? This lady with glasses here. Yes? Yeah, okay, so you might make a pitch to convince other people of your idea, but what's the point of that? Sorry? To get investors. Okay, this gentleman with the sunglasses, you had a good night last night, didn't you? I can see. Can you see me? Oh, that's all right then. Why would you make a pitch? No idea. You are going to be a millionaire real quick. This gentleman? Okay, so you've convinced me your idea is nicer. Now what? Somebody said investors. You get a lolly for being clever there. Oops. Okay, somebody this side. Raquel, you're unusually quiet. You must have had a good night last night. Yeah, good. Raquel's voice is going. You've got no idea how good this is. Any ideas? Where's he gone? Where's Marlin? I've lost my animations. I should be able to have the animations come up. Okay. Is this one here? I want the whole screen. No, I don't even have it. The lesson here is don't let Marlon near your computer. I'm missing my animations. Whoa, 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 where's that? Let me warn you, I know everything that goes. I might go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, but I know everything that happens. Okay, the thing should come up. No, go back. You've turned off animations. No. Okay, the first one is funding. That's obvious. This is why you would bother with a pitch. The second reason you might pitch to people is you need access to knowledge. Somebody might know something that you need to know, and you're going to have to convince them to tell you or provide you with that information or knowledge. You might want to form a partnership with somebody. So you're going to have to convince them that you know what you're talking about and where you're going and what you can achieve. You might be looking to collaborate. So this whole program that you're involved in is actually a collaboration of 3 universities. And this came about from the 3 different universities meeting a few years ago and pitching to each other about our ability and our skills to make this particular collaboration happen. And the third one is to get sales. Every time you try and get a customer, you're making a pitch. So these pitches are not just about going to investors and getting money. The pitch has a much wider implication. So, buying or investing decisions. People make decisions when they buy something or invest in something on these 4 fundamental factors. Those of you who have done my undergraduate degree should remember these really clearly. Nathan? First one, what's economic advantage? No, gosh. This is price. What will it cost me? Will I be out of pocket? Will I make money from this? The second one, social value and prestige. How will I look as a result of this purchase? What will it do to me? How many of you, when you got dressed this morning, put clothes on that would make you look ugly? No one. That's the power of social and prestige. You did. No, I don't think so, Raquel. The next one, vested interest. What do I have to give up in order to accept this new product? You know, lots of restaurants and shops have loyalty cards. You have 9 stamps at your favorite coffee shop. You need 1 more for your free coffee. Are you going to change your coffee shop? Of course not. Acceptance of new ideas. What behaviors do I have to change? And what's really interesting about this is that there are some products that it's almost impossible to get people to change. Things like shampoo. Most of you are using the same shampoo today as you did 5, 6 years ago. And this pattern will continue all the way through your life. When you move out of home, eventually, and have your own family, you will find you're using the same laundry detergent that your mum used. You will find you're giving your kids the same toothpaste your mum gave you. So you have this small number of products that's almost impossible to get people to change from. So understanding how these 4 things work together is the foundation of your pitch when you make it. So, these are the 4 questions that your pitch has to answer. It doesn't matter who you're doing the pitch to, a customer, a partner, staff, investors, collaborators, people who have information, you need to answer these 4 questions. Once you've identified the problem, how are you going to solve it? If you have no solution to your problem, you don't have a business. You may have identified a problem, come up with a great solution, but the cost of that solution may be too high, in which case it's not going to work. And I have the firm belief that every single problem has hundreds of thousands of solutions. It's how you apply the solution that determines the success. All of these things need to come together before you start discussing investment. If you don't have these, you're not going to get investors. And we've just set up at Middlesex, we've just set up an angel investor section, and we sat down with them, and what was really interesting is before I even said it, they were saying, this is what we want to know. What's the problem? What's the solution? What will it cost? And what is the reward for me? So let's have a look. What is the problem? So I want you to talk to the person next to you for a minute or two, and I want you to tell me, what problem do these businesses solve? McDonald's, Pine Beach Resort, Clare Roll, and Uber. Okay? So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Off you go. You ladies don't know. You don't wear makeup and hair, right? They're one of the biggest providers of hair dye and colours and shampoos. Do you know what Clare Roll, you know what they sell? Hair dye. Hair dye to change the colour of your hair. And shampoo. Clare Roll, you don't know. They sell hair dyes and hair colouring and shampoos. That's not the point. Does it look like I do mine? Okay, hang on, quiet, quiet, quiet. Shh, shh, shh. Listen, please. This third one, they sell hair dyes and shampoos, because a couple of people asked me what they do. Okay, so you've got about 30 seconds left. Do they? I think so, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's come back. Quiet, quiet, quiet. Okay, who's got the answer to the first one, McDonald's? No, that's a consequence of the problem they're solving. This gentleman with the beard there, pink shirt, yeah? No. No, that's a consequence. Shh. Sorry, I can't hear. That's correct, but what problem are they solving? No, because you could go to a 5-star restaurant and sit and have a 6-course meal. Convenience. McDonald's solved the problem of convenience. You are hungry now, you don't want to wait, you go in, you pick up your food, and you walk out again. It's convenience. Pine Beach Resort, one word, what are they selling? What problem are they solving? They create stress for me. Gentleman with the hat, what does this resort, what problem? No, you haven't, oh, wrong, not you, Jake. So he's taken his hat off now, and I hope I won't ask him. I'm still asking you the question. That was clever. Let me give you a lolly for that. I said the man in the hat, what's the answer? So he took his hat off. You have an answer? No? Anybody? That's a consequence. That's a consequence. Memories. Why are you all running around taking photos, selfies, videos? Why are you in an environment that is totally different to your day-to-day environment? Because as human beings, we are dependent on memories to help us deal with the crap and the rubbish that we see every day. And so we come to places like this to create lovely memories of going out at night, dancing like crazy, having a good time. So we have a wonderful memory of Ghoulie now, which I will share with everybody when I get back to the university. How much money have you got? Clairol. What does Clairol sell? What problem did they solve? Sorry. Self-esteem. Well done. Ladies. No, you got it right. Ladies, gentlemen, listen to this. Revlon, the biggest makeup company in the world, will tell you they sell hope. Right? Because every morning, these wonderful women get up in the morning and they slap this stuff on their face in the hope they look better. Uber? Yes, it's convenient. You get a lolly for that. No. So, no, she could, I was going to give it to you, but I thought, no, I'm more scared of Deborah than I am of you. So, so understanding what the problem is, now you can start seeing the solution. And when you understand now how these organizations, what problem they're solving, you can now understand why they do what they do. So, what's the solution here? This should be very, very easy. Tomo's brother. McDonald's. The problem is convenience. What are they giving you? You're not Tomo's brother, are you? Where's Tomo? Stand up. I want to see if you look alike. Fast food. Pine Beach Resort. What's their solution? This lady. Holidays, but did you do anything specific here? Yeah, I'm talking about a specific activity. Shh, let her. Did you do archery? Kayaking? Okay, so kayaking. They're giving you activities. They've built this in a nice environment with trees. They serve reasonably good food. There's great bars just down the road to go and get drunk. Clairol, their solution, things like hair dyes, moisturizers, shampoos. Uber, a more reliable taxi service. The main reason Uber has taken off, does anybody know why Uber's really taken off? One particular thing about Uber that other taxis don't have. No, that's not it. No. Sorry? Yeah, that's one of the things, but there's something else. You're on the right track of something that you can see. Not necessarily. Yes, you can see where your taxi ride is. There's nothing more frustrating than you've got to get a taxi to the airport to catch a plane and you have no idea where your taxi is. And you want to be leaving in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Is it 2 or 3 minutes away or is it still 10 minutes away? And you ring up this company and they say, oh, it's on its way. What does that mean? The biggest factor that helped Uber take off was the fact that you can see exactly where your ride is. So the solution must answer those 4 factors we mentioned before that people think about. Is it affordable? Will it help their self-esteem? Will it create a conflict of interest? And do you have to radically change your behavior? So if you are like me and never ever eat at McDonald's, what's the one buying decision that's most important to me that stops me buying McDonald's from the 4 that I showed you before? Whoops. No. Economic advantage, social prestige, vested interest or acceptance of new ideas. Anybody know what it is? Have a guess? If you know what my first job in my life was, you should be able to get the answer. Social and prestige, yes. I started my working life as a chef. I worked at the top end of the restaurant business. There's no way I'm going in to eat McDonald's food. Okay? So, what will it cost? This is where you start to look at those particular factors. Economic advantage, how much time do I have to spend getting this product or service? How much energy, how much money do I have to invest? And even as a customer, this is a critical problem. I mentioned this at a couple of tables. If I've got 100 euros in my pocket and you've got 5 euros in your pocket and we both are hungry, we're not going to the same restaurant. So it's the economic value comes into play. And if you look at the process of needs, wants and desires, everybody has the same needs. We all get hungry. Your wants are culturally defined. So if you're Spanish, you might want paella. If you're English, you want fish and chips. If you're Croatian, I don't know what Croatians eat, but whatever it is they eat. So the want is culturally defined. But the desire is determined by how much money you have in your pocket. Social value and prestige. How will this improve the view others have of me? Banks do not lend money to drug dealers. Why? Because it doesn't make them look good. And if you look in the UK, if you look in Australia at the moment, one of the biggest banks in Australia is in very serious trouble because they've been caught out laundering money. Millions and millions of dollars. And what's happening is that large companies are now starting to take their business out of this bank and moving into other banks because of the impact it has on their, the view people have of them. Vested interests. Is there a conflict of interest here? Do I have to change what I think and how I act? And if there is this conflict, you're not going to buy it. A good example is we have a couple of students here who are originally from Muslims, and it's interesting that watching what they eat, because the meat is not halal. So there's this conflict of vested interest here in terms of how far they have to go to change. Acceptance of new ideas. How easy is it to engage with you? As human beings, we have a strong resistance to change. Despite what we say, we actually hate change. And this is evolutionary built into us. If you go back 30,000 years ago and you live in an area, you know all the fruits to eat. You know all the berries to eat. You know what animals you can catch and eat. But if you have to move into a new area, suddenly you don't know anything. You don't know what to eat. So this acceptance of change is very difficult for us. So what are the rewards? Again, these same things come up again. They need to be... oh, sorry, I've jumped a page. Economic advantage in case of investment. What return will I get? How much money will I get back? In the case of customers, can I find somebody else to solve the same problem I have at a lower cost? Social and prestige. This is very much connected to the idea of a successful business. And when people have a solution, they're happier, they're more content. This is the reward that they get. Vested interests, there's no conflict here. I don't have to change what I'm doing in the same way with the acceptance of behaviors. So, you need to get those things together and answer those questions. So when you do your presentation, you need to keep it simple and straightforward. It must be clear enough for anybody to understand. We've just spent 9 months working with a scientist on his business plan. Why did it take so long? Because he's a scientist and keeps writing his business plan as though it's a scientific paper. And the investors don't understand it. We finally sorted it out, and the consequence of that, he's just been given £50,000 investment for his business with a promise of another £250,000 if this initial part is successful. But it took us 9 months to understand what he was doing in a business sense. So you really have to make sure that your business plan or your presentation is clear enough for anyone and everyone to understand. Concise and succinct. I've mentioned this also at a couple of tables. The one resource that you do not have enough of is time. Is it, Marlon? Is it 10 minutes, the presentation tomorrow? 7 minutes. Okay? So tomorrow you've got just 7 minutes. And those of you who have been in my undergraduate class will know when you did your presentations, all my students get 10 minutes. At the 10-minute mark, I stop them. Whatever they haven't presented, they get 0. They don't get a mark for this. Because you have to learn to use time effectively. You've got 7 minutes tomorrow. That's it. And if you really want to do well, you better make sure you're concise and succinct. Facts, not fiction. Don't ever lie in a presentation, because you will get caught out. Again, do your research. When you do your presentations tomorrow, they really should be believable. And what's interesting, when I was walking around the other day, how few of you have gone online to find the facts, to find the information. I hope that's changed now. Be passionate. If you don't believe in what you're doing, nor will the other person. You have to be passionate about what you're doing. Know the audience. If you're doing a pitch to customers, it should be very, very different to a pitch to investors. If you're doing a pitch to your staff, it should be very, very different to a pitch to your customers. So make sure you know who your audience is. What is the purpose of this? Because sometimes some information that you need to put into, say, a pitch to investors will be different to a pitch to your customers. So, that's me finished. Any questions? Cool bananas. I have 3 lollies left. Does anybody know what Newtonian fluids are? And give me an example of one. Yes? Do you know what they are? What? Well done. Okay. Who's taking over? Oh, Michael. Yeah. Did you...